Speaking of things that will never be overdue, Mini Cooper.
What?
Mini is adding. This is a headline. They're adding a stupid AI
No,
dog.
that was my title. Sorry.
This is my headline. Our headline is Mini is adding a stupid AI dog to distract you while driving.
Dude,
That's what's happening.
Works. It's not stupid.
Okay, let's explain what's happening here. If you ever seen the inside of a Mini Cooper, they have this like large circular dial in the middle.
Yeah.
That's like their aesthetic. There's a big circular thing in the middle.
It's really ugly.
It it is what it is. It's their aesthetic. They own it. Fine.
Yeah.
This concept of a future Mini Cooper, this large circular dial in the middle, is just one huge circular screen, which I guess that's what they picture their future to be like. Also, again, fine, you can do that. But for some reason, they have added a English bulldog named Spike. That's a cartoon dog that just dances around your screen and acts as an assistant in some capacity. When you actually watch the video, it just seems like, oh, it's going to distract you while you're driving. It's just dancing around. Like literally it has like the navigation like small and tucked over to the right. Like you need to turn in 50 meters, but also here's a huge dog twerking in the middle of the screen. What is going on? This is a weird hierarchy of information.
I can just see you getting in a really bad car accident. There's steam coming out of your car and the dog's just twerking, glitching out in the center.
Having to explain why you rear-ended someone. It's like, I'm sorry, Spike was just freaking out on my screen. Yeah.
It's weird. What would you want this dog to do? Why are they even doing this?
They haven't exactly said what it's going to do, just that
That's
will, what did they say? It was
better.
very low-key. It will just help support with features of the car, essentially. Which I think is basically just, remember the Mercedes, like, I don't think it's going to be this, we talk about ChatGPT and all this AI stuff now. I don't think it's going to be a ChatGPT enabled dog rope AI or whatever. It's probably just going to be like Google Assistant with a stupid dog that jumps around. But like we've seen cars do this. Like Mercedes had its own virtual assistant and they're terrible.
They're all bad.
This is just going to be that, but when it's terrible, at least it's coming from a cute little dog and maybe you won't complain about it all the time.
I will say this is the only one that I've seen in a car that's not using the name of the car brand as a trigger word. So when you're driving a Mercedes and you want to trigger the key phrase, you literally, anytime it thinks you say the word Mercedes, it just fires up the mic and it goes, what can I do for you? Ferrari does the same thing. And they're both way too easily accidentally triggered, like Siri. So maybe Spike is one of those things where like you can just talk to Spike instead of having to say, hey, Mini, or something like that. I don't know.
What about this is AI?
We don't exactly know yet.
Is AI.
Great question.
I'm assuming that they're trying to make people think that they're going to have like a natural language integration,
which is fine, but it's not like
they just
some
don't
new
say
AI
it.
thing. Yeah.
No. But
It's clippy.
The Verge wrote an article about it, and they said, in absence of concrete details of what Spike will actually do, here's some things we'd like: barking uncontrollably when anyone in the car says the word walk or walkies. Quietly saying "rut-row" if you mix your
I
highway
want that one
exit,
so much.
and taking control of the car to chase squirrels whenever possible.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And also distracting you. It's the only screen. They don't have a screen behind the steering wheel. This is the only screen
But
in the car.
there's technically a screen on the dashboard. It's just made up of like mini dots. It's like a mini dot matrix.
This is this weird concept where if you look in another picture, Spike is actually off to the side on it, which
because he runs off of the screen and onto the matrix.
This is all in the concept, which also I do think this concept Aceman Mini Cooper looks pretty nice.
It actually looks kind of cool.
I think it looks
for what
real nice. The headlights look great. The front grille looks great. There's some things on it that I don't think are going to be in a real car.
Classic concept.
But like they do say that Spike will be coming to a 2023 Countryman and the 2024 Mini Cooper. So
we have to get a car.
I guess we have to get it and try this. I'm wondering, in those ones they won't have the dot matrix things, so it can't run off. Is it going to be there when you're driving? Is it going to be this big when you're driving, or is that like a parked thing?
Maybe he'll just be sleeping.
It really shouldn't.
Just like, who cares about your speed? Here's Spike.
That's
chasing its tail while you're driving.
It's the size of your steering wheel. It's gigantic.
It's huge.
Yeah. That hopefully isn't doing that while you're driving.
I'm wondering. I don't know what to think about this.
It's also, we've talked about like car companies. Can they be good software companies? You know, like we've seen Mercedes make incredible cars, and then you get in there and you start using the software and you're like, you're good at cars, but not software. And then they sort of we just deal with it, and everyone goes, just give me CarPlay because it's better than what you built.
Yep.
Is Mini somehow going to be a decent software company in the next 3 years? I don't know.
We'll see.
No.
I feel like the answer to your question is, can they be? Yes.
Will they be?
By example, have they proved it to us? No.
No.
Yeah.
Will they be? Probably not. Yeah.
If you have to take care of Spike like a Tamagotchi, I'm all in.
Feed it.
You
Pull
get back in
over.
your car after like a week of being on vacation, and he's just like sleeping in the middle of the thing. Like, what's going on?
Imagine if you go too fast and starts getting mad at you, or you start going too slow in the left lane and it starts getting mad at you.
That's interesting.
There
You
we
know what
go.
that reminds me of? So we didn't talk about this on the podcast, but we did briefly have here the Mercedes Vision EQXX, and this was the sort of efficiency model from Mercedes. Like, if we can just build the most efficient car we possibly can that's street legal. I'm not counting the Aptera, sorry, but this is the one that they're getting like 700 miles of range out of. It's got solar panels on the roof. It's got an extended tail. It's got all these aero features. It slips through the air with a 0.18 drag coefficient. And one of the things that was actually kind of cool is on the inside, there's a screen that helps you drive most efficiently based on your real-time like driving. So if you put your foot down too hard on the accelerator pedal, the little speedometer turns a little bit red, and you let off the accelerator, it goes back to blue. It's just trying to get you the perfect efficiency going over hills, driving around, which is interesting. That's almost smarter and more useful than a tiny dog.
And you'd probably do that more if a dog was barking at you when you were being inefficient.
Fair. Touche.
Technically true.
We got to
Yeah.
teach Mac to do this. That would be kind of
Yeah,
sick.
no, he's generally scared in the car, but still loves it.
Does he bark when you go fast?
No, he does not.
He just
He just grips into the back seat.
That's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to one more thing while we're on the topic of EVs real quick. And I don't like the R1S was here last week. It was incredible. I loved
you
it.
liked it a lot.
I really liked it. And I
guess.
really liked the R1T as well.
Yeah.
But this R2 platform, I'm going to make I'm very excited for it. I have a checklist. And if this checklist becomes true, I will pre-order it the first day it's announced.
Big time. All right. Let's
And I don't
Andrew
think
told me this, and I made sure that he brought it up on the
I
podcast.
don't think this is
Let's
that
hear it.
unreasonable either. If the R2 SUV, so I'm thinking like similar size to my Forester,
Sure.
maybe even a little bigger.
Okay.
Dual motor. I want 4-wheel drive at least. So dual motor. I'll go down at least 280 miles of range. I would prefer 300. Under 60K. I still want it to be boxy and similar to the R1S. I hate these crossovers that have like a hatchback, but it's slanted, so you lose all the headspace you have from that.
86.
Yeah, it's like, so I want it to stay the same, like nice and boxy on that part. And then I still want it to have a front trunk, which I feel like is becoming on smaller cars isn't really there. We're really only seeing it in, or some sedans, but there are a lot of legacy car manufacturers coming out without front trunks, and I
the
hate
key.
that.
Okay, so I'm going to go through your list one by one.
Okay.
I think this is a pretty good list, and I think most of them are going to happen. Front trunk, I almost guarantee will happen.
Okay.
Because exactly what you said, legacy car manufacturers are not as good at building the entire EV platform from scratch with that front trunk space in mind. They kind of just seem to like shove all the electronics where the trunk would be, and where the front engine would be. So yeah, the smaller ones, the Aria, the Leaf, even the EV6 or the Ioniq, they all have tiny front trunks.
Does the Mach-E have one?
Not very big.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
I don't even think it does. It have one?
I forget. I was gonna say Ford with the F-150. That is one place that nailed it. Like I do think the F-150 front trunk is better than the Rivian front trunk, just because you have that lip coming down between the headlights. That's better.
It's like
The
massive too.
It's huge, and like you can like sit in it, where the Rivian is like a lip up.
Right.
Like having that with the cooler space and everything is really neat.
The Mach-E does have a front trunk as
Okay,
well.
so Ford's one of the legacy car manufacturers that seems to be doing okay.
Shout out to them. I think the Rivian, you'll get a front trunk.
Okay.
Boxy, not slanted crossover. I think you're going to have that boxy shape again. I think that would make sense. Dual motor. So dual motor and 280 miles of range kind of live in this balancing act where typically the more efficient version is the single motor rear wheel drive, and the higher performance version with dual motors gets less range.
So why I wrote 280 is because I always say 300, but I would not be surprised if this came out with a single motor 300 and a dual motor 280.
Okay.
And I would prefer the dual motor on an SUV like that to have all-wheel drive.
When talking to RJ, it seemed like the priority was still to make it capable enough to be an adventure vehicle. It's just that most people don't need the absurd capabilities of what the R1 platform can do right now. So I think we can count on dual motor, and I think 280 miles of range feels reasonable given an advancement in battery technology. Under 60K is the last one. I think that's a goal. I wouldn't be shocked if it was right around that line. Right around that line. So R2, I mean, we're going to see. This is all just us predicting, and I don't think we know anything that the public doesn't who hasn't watched our interview, but that feels pretty good for us.
And I put 60 as my max. Like, it has to be under 60. So I feel like this should, if they could get that at 55, it would be fantastic.
Yeah. I think that's what they're going to aim for. Model 3, Model Y.
So.
Yeah.
I'll pre-order on the podcast if this is what happens.
Dang.
We're going to hold you to that.
I like that.
Sick.
I already put it in Notion.
It's a we wrote that down.
Luckily, Claire doesn't listen to this.
You're locked in. Perfect. Hey, Woof. Hey, it's me, Spike, your AI dog. You have to turn in like a quarter of a mile, but also you have to subscribe to the Waveform podcast right now, or I won't show you your next instructions. So get to subscribing, or you're totally gonna miss this turn.
Oh God, you missed the turn.
Ruh-roh.
And then you have to torque.